standard spoken language and regional spoken languages. When you learn foreign languages, the listening and pronunciation is very important. Listening and pronunciation is very related with each other. If we can listen and then we can get a good pronunciations. But if we cannot listening, it's very hard to build a good pronunciation. So when we try to listen and then listen comprehension for listening and then try to understand, comprehend. But most important thing is when we listen, the remembering is very, very important. So and then why we should remember what we listen because we should know about and what the people say, and then we can communicate with it. When we do communicate it, not only simultaneously, and then but also the after uh, activity or the explaining is the most important when we listen. So and then uh, understanding is at the moment, but the remembering is can we use any time? It's expand our knowledge after listening. So this is a very, very important part. Also remembering, we remember not only the contents, but also the sound and how they speak, and voice, and all the things. By doing that, we can improve pronunciation. That is a real fact. So, and then to improve the pronunciation and to remember what we heard, that listening skill is very important. Now, I don't talk about the listening practice. I talk about the standard spoken language and regional spoken languages. So when we listen uh, to people speak, and then normally we should know about uh, people who say, and then who we meet, uh, they speak the target languages. It's, uh, so do I. I speak Korean, but when I speak with my friends or and then family or some, and then I speak naturally at the time. Maybe I think I speak a little bit regional spoken languages, the Chungcheong province. This is one of the reasons why we should know about and standard spoken language and regional spoken languages. I study Vietnamese and then I listen. I try to listen to, and Vietnamese people speak in Vietnamese. And then one thing is, am I listening to standard spoken language? Yeah, sometimes yes. But when I listen to the YouTube videos, and that is a news or a podcast, maybe I can listen to the standard spoken language. But when I do online language exchange with my language partners, am I listening to standard spoken language? Maybe yes, but I think I should know about their individual pronunciation when they speak. For example, I meet my language partners many places in Vietnam doing online language exchange. And then from Hanoi and Haiphong and Ho Chi Minh, but she's from the Quang Nam and Vung Tau, and so like this. Even when I travel, I've been traveling from Hanoi to Ho Chi Minh by train at for 1 month. I met many people, local people at the time, just traveling. I didn't think about learning Vietnamese, but I a little bit understand the regional speaking a little bit different. So and then I know about regionals. So I know about the regional spoken languages. Even though, and then there are some regional spoken languages. Each person has different voice, uh, different voice, and then their characteristic, and then they speak slow and fast, and then there are many, many cases when we listen to um, native speakers. So, and then we should know about why I'm talking about this. When we try to listen to, and then we should know about that regional spoken language and individual spoken language. They have common spoken language with standard spoken languages. Uh, they normally speak that, but when they speak, and then they have also their own regional spoken languages. So, and then when we meet, we listen to native speakers, and then we should know about information about someone who speak the languages. For example, where they are from, or the how many days, how many years live there, and also the how they be educated or how are interested in the using a language. Yeah, when we do online language exchange and then they try to learn Korean or English, and it means they are good communicator because they think can communicate with each other by learning other foreign languages. So do I. And then, learning a foreign languages need lots of efforts and even the listening as well. So, and then we should have a common uh, same purpose, and then so on. We understand each other. That is the point. So, uh, in my case, when I met Vietnamese guys in Korea who work in here, and then I try to listen to them, and then they talk to each other, and then and they are from Tin Thanh Hoa, the provincial Thanh. Then they speak naturally. I realized that they spoke maybe regional spoken languages individually, and then they speak the regional languages. Even I don't understand them, but I try to listen to them. But and then even though they speak regional spoken language, they also use common vocabulary. So and then I need to know about and then try to understand, but I should realize they might be different from other province and then maybe. So it's very, very difficult. And then it's same situation in the normally and then any place in Korea, in Japan, in UK or America, where we go, and then maybe the people speak little differently, but among them, they have a community, the language communities, like regional language communities, small, provincial, big, and so uh, language is a very, very cultural thing or and then historical thing. And then so when we learn a foreign language, we should know about that standard spoken language and regional spoken language. When we meet a language partner or someone who speak Tagalog language, we should know about they mostly naturally speak regional spoken language rather than standard spoken language. only standard spoken language, maybe the someone who announcer and reporter or podcaster, and then um, who are expert in speaking or pronounce presentation something. Okay, so and then here today, so my topic is Today, my topic is about standard spoken language and regional spoken language to understand the native speakers who speak and naturally, when they speak naturally, and then they speak their own regional spoken language individually, they speaking, and then it's hard to understand. So we should know about that the cultural, historical, or regional uh, uh, spoken language in the situation. So, and that is the point of learning foreign languages. We should know about the wide uh, language uh, environment something. Okay. Now I talk with the voice typing, writing with my voice to two pages, three, four pages. Shortly, I write it about it, and then I can get this, and then using AI, hopefully I try to get content saying make content content of standard spoken language and regional spoken language after proofreading with my content. Yeah, got it. So, and then I can get the report from uh, AI about the, yeah, then uh, lots of reported and also about it today. No time, just only focus on this English version. And then I can copy this, go back to my Google Doc, and then adding this. Okay, voila. Then I try to read what reported by AI. Thanks for sharing this deep, thoughtful draft. I can see you are working through important idea about the relationship between listening and pronunciation and understanding both the standard and regional spoken languages. When learning foreign languages, I'll help you by organizing and proofreading it into a clearer, more structured format that still keeps your original messages. Standard spoken language and regional spoken language in foreign languages learnings. When learning a foreign language, listening and the pronunciation are closely connected. Good pronunciation often comes from good listening. If we cannot listen well, it's difficult to build the proper pronunciation. That's why listening is the foundation of speaking. When we listen, the goal is to understand, but more importantly, to remember. Why is remembering what we hear so important? Because communication isn't only about understanding in that moment, it's also about being able to recall and use what we've heard later. Whether it's just repeating, explaining, or continuing our conversation, we don't just remember words, we also remember sound, intonation, voice tone, and how things are said. These elements are essential for improving pronunciation. the role of standard and regional spoken languages. Now let's talk about standard spoken language versus and regional spoken language. When we learn a new language, we usually start by listening to standard spoken language, like in the news, podcast, or language learning video. However, when we speak with native speakers, and especially in everyday conversation or language exchange, they often use regional or local variations. For example, I speak Korean with my family and friends, and I naturally speak in a regional dialect from the Chungcheong province. This shows why it's important to learn both the standard form, recognize regional differences. I also study Vietnamese. I listen to podcasts or news in standard Vietnamese. But when I do language exchange with my partner from different areas like Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh City, Guangnam, or Matut, they each speak with their own regional pronunciation or vocabulary. Even when I traveled by train from Hanoi to Ho Chi Minh over months, I noticed many regional spoken styles from local people, even though I wasn't studying Vietnamese deeply at the time. I became aware of how different regional sound, why regional language matter in real conversations. When listening to native speaker, it helps to know where they are from, how long they have lived there, their education level, their experience with other languages. These factors shape how they speak. In my experience doing language exchange, many partners are also learners of English or Korean. That means they are trying to be good communicators, and just like me. We share a common goal of understanding and being understood. I've also met many Vietnamese people living and working in Korea. When they talk to each other, and they often speak naturally in their own regional dialect. At first, it was hard to understand, but over time, I noticed they still using many common words and expressions. I realized that recognizing regional speech pattern is key. Language, culture, and environment. Everywhere, the weather is Korea, Japan, the UK, or the US. And people speak a little differently based on their region, culture, and history. There are language communities that share common ways of speaking. That's why understanding both standard and regional spoken languages is essential for true communication. Most native speakers will naturally speak regional spoken language unless they are professional, like new announcers, podcaster, or language teachers, and then who are trained to use the standard pronunciation. Conclusion, today's topic was about the importance of understanding both standard and regional spoken languages in foreign language learning. When native speakers talk naturally, they often use their own regional style. To truly understand them, we must know more than just grammar and vocabulary. We need to understand cultural background and context of how they speak. This is the heart of learning a language, not just learning words, but understanding people. Okay, done.